Hello, everybody. Um, Please excuse my starting um, after the session started. But what we're looking at here is so this big yellow space was the opening range gap that we started with this morning. It was pretty large. We had the unemployment claims for the economic news driver, so that gave us a pretty large gap down. As you can see here on the top left in the 4 hour, we gapped down and we spent a lot of today just kind of climbing back up into it. But what I'm looking at here is this order block on the 4 hour. We have this daily fair value gap on the discount array. And we have, yeah, okay, so we have this 4 hour order block, which coincides with the majority of this range. On the 5 minute for ES, we have equal lows down here, as well as a climbing dollar. So these are a lot of hints towards the downside. These equal lows on the NASDAQ weren't so equal, as you can see. Right here, this is the NASDAQ 5 minute. They weren't so equal on the NASDAQ, nor were they on the Dow. It was actually a higher low on the Dow. So you can see this SMT kind of hinted its hand towards us going a little higher for the rest of the day. But what I want to see right now is so this right here is the lunchtime high. As you can see, we kind of just wicked above it. We tapped the 4 hour order block perfectly. I want to see us break structure on the 5 minute right here and start getting some heavy candles to the downside to look for a silver bullet entry. If we have a break in structure and the dollar also kind of aligns, I think that would be a very good short going into these equal lows, gravitating towards this daily fair value gap, as well as this new week opening gap, older new week opening gap. So we'll just watch here. We also have the consequent encroachment on the daily wick. On the top left, I'll go up to the daily chart and show you. So we have the consequent encroachment of this wick. Now, that could be a bullish sign for higher prices. You know, a lot of times we'd see a candle body close above that consequent encroachment. But I think what we're seeing right now is we're going to see whether it wants to or not. So we're either going to finish the day respecting this consequent encroachment or we're going to finish the day not respecting it. So we're kind of using that as a line in the sand to kind of let the market show us which way it wants to go. Let's go back down to 15 minute. Okay, so we're starting to get some downward price action. We haven't yet had anything that could be this. This could be considered an institutional order flow entry drill for a silver bullet. I'd like something a little cleaner. We have this volume imbalance respecting candle body respecting this volume imbalance. I'm liking downside price action right now, so I think we will look for a fair value gap. We will look for the silver bullet. I don't have it. Let's see. The NASDAQ 1 minute. It's looking pretty good. We have this fair value gap right here. I would take that. See how we respond to it. Oh, yeah, okay. We have a lot of downside it looks like we can cover, so we're gonna have a good chance. We don't have to call the top right here. Looks like on the NASDAQ, that was we have the SIBI that aligns on both. NASDAQ whipped right into it, came down. On here, it looks like we're going to get more of an institutional order flow entry drill entry. If it goes back and taps this, I would take an entry again. I don't want to enter randomly right now, but if we create another fair value gap and show respect of it, then I would also take that as an entry, even though it would be lower. That would probably result in a lower entry. We have quite a room for our liquidity target. And what it would do is it would be better than entering randomly right now, like trying to chase this entry, because it would act as a second confirmation. Okay, so lunch buy side is here. We have sell side here. We have lunch sell side down here. Check out NQ real quick. So this is that on NQ. Looks like we're entering it. S&P is looking a lot weaker. What's the dollar doing? Dollar. Taking the if we return into this fair value gap, I would probably enter a short. Put my stop right there. Yes, price is looking a little sloppier. A lot of wicks. So for regular trading hours on the NASDAQ, this is what we're looking at. So as you can see, we kind of came up in respect to about half of that range, almost perfectly, which is another indicator. That means we're on sides for short. Yeah, so looks like that would have been a pretty good entry. Um, we had multiple chances, but I missed it. I think we have a lot of room for downside, so we'll see how heavy price gets, um, and whether we think it deserves a lower entry. Okay, so I like how NASDAQ is behaving a little more than ES. Um, let's see. Could be a second entry. I'm gonna wait for this candle to print. See if it wants to print a fair value gap. Okay, I'll take a look at ES. Yes, left no room for fair value gap. Oh, that's the doubt. ES, no fair value gap. Um, okay, so that entered us in short. Let's see how it treats this. Also watching the dollar here, this yellow line. And for NQ, we're going to take our first partial at 10 handles. Um, I know this is a really, really large stop, but um, this is definitely, I could see us, I would allow for a retracement up back to this original silver bullet entry before changing my bias, especially since on the 5 minute we haven't really taken any significant liquidity. You can see here on the 15 minute This high came right up and we had no body close past the mean threshold of this up close candle. We also took the morning high and the lunch for liquidity. Want to see us get heavy below this low. So once we start to close below it, I'm hoping for more candles that look like this down close candle. So this in itself could definitely have been your silver bullet trade. I mean, it offered 16 handles. Okay, so I really like how we responded off of that silver bullet. Came in, top down. Now we're getting heavy. Um, let's take profit at 10 handles, 73. So down to 63. Like I said, we want to see it get heavy right here. So I like that it came up, did a few ticks over this wick, and then reacted off of it, allowing no fair value gap to form. But I do want to see it get heavy. I don't want to see it return. And especially, I'll be watching the consequent encroachment of this long wick right here. I would be comfortable. Okay, so what we'll do is probably going to move our stop. If we retrace up past, if we retrace and violate this fair value gap and head back to this one, what we'll do is we'll take the stop out, see how we respond to this one, and see if that's the discount or the premium wants to send us lower. I'm saying that because of we don't seem to be wanting to get heavy after breaking this low. Maybe I need a little more patience because maybe it just needs more than 2 candles to show some heaviness. We did just wick, if you look on the 5-minute, we just wicked into this 5-minute fair value gap. I do like how on the 5-minute though we came up and closed in the majority of the range of this body. The dollar looking like it just wanted a little bit of a retracement. Okay, so we got our first partial there. Now let's just watch. Move to break even. It could very well retrace back up into the silver bullet, but we're going to move it to break even. Okay, we got the dollar bouncing very much on sides. And let's target. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is now that we locked in some profits, moved stops to break even, now let's see how much we can juice out of this. I like this low on the 5 minute, um, 97 ticks. I actually do think we could get a lot more out of it. I think we could actually see this low, this lunch low, be taken. Um, so next sell side, major sell sides. But I'm just trying not to get greedy here. Um, that's what I like. Okay, yeah. So we did get heavy. I just need a little more patience. I think you love to see that how strong a reaction it showed off of that um, off the second or the I guess the third second entry into that silver bullet. So it went up and bam, shot right down, got hammered down. This right here was the real trade, um, which would have been a really nice drop. Um, I'm not too worried about that candle as long as we have the rising dollar. Um, see how it respects this fair value gap. Like that, like that. Yeah, wasn't too worried about this retracement just because of we still have our dollar rising. Another thing too, that likes to help me stay confident in a scenario like this is look at the 5 minute and you're just really looking for confirmations all on that you're on side. So on the 5 minute, we came up and wicked right, closed in, an immediate rebalance, ICT calls it. And honestly, that's probably proof that we're gonna send this thing a lot lower. We're probably gonna hit the second sell side. We got the immediate rebalance, and then coming all the way down, we're probably gonna get that nice. Um, so if we didn't immediate rebalance, I wouldn't be that confident in this second sell side liquidity. But now that I'm seeing an immediate rebalance on the 5 minute, I I could see it getting um, pretty heavy here. Again, I'm really sorry, guys, with the late. I hopped on really late, and the analysis was pretty haphazard. Um, I like how the dollar, we're aiming towards that high. So if we take this high on the dollar, you betcha, Chet, you betcha, we're coming down lower on the higher time frames. Yeah. So going back to how I switched to NASDAQ so quickly, um, what I really liked was when I drew out the opening range gap, how one of the great things about TradingView is how this like sliding dot, like this is a perfect thing just to line up your 50% of a range. So right there, as you can see on this 15-minute in the top left, right in the middle of this opening range, bam, we hit it to a tick and then went down lower, which coincided with, taking the lunch and the morning buy side liquidity. We had a lot of sell side that just hasn't been touched. Um, let's look at ES. ES, ES, it looked pretty good as well. We took the lunch, the high of the day liquidity, hit that 4 hour bearish order block, um, and now we're getting heavy on ES. ES actually looks like it offered a little better than it's running, just dropping just as much as Nasdaq. Um, yeah. Okay, so now that it looks like we're pretty on sides, I would be watching if you were to still be in this trade. Um, it's like, okay, once you know you're on sides, you watch up close slash down close candles. In this case, it's going to be up close because we're bearish. Um, watch up close candles and see how they support price. So we have these really two large up close candles, but then we drop down below it. Let's see how heavy we can get. It's awesome that we just came up right to the body of this candle. This is what it's all about. It's all about watching wicks and bodies. Um, I would I wouldn't even sweat it if we came up to halfway through, so the mean threshold, pretend like this is an order block, the mean threshold of this. If we get a close past mean threshold and then take this high, then it's like, okay, let's start reconsidering lower prices. Um, I could see it wicking into this, closing below mean threshold. If it even wants to get there, price is looking kind of heavy right now. Um, we had a lot of move, we had a lot of down close candles on 5 minutes, so I wouldn't be surprised if we print at least one up close candle before sending it lower. You can see we're hesitating right here, so when I see us hesitating right here, it makes sense because look at this. We have this BISI right here, and it's trying to figure out, we just closed it in, but it's trying to figure out if we want to actually have a body close below it. Do we want to respect this BISI? Um, but once we get a close below this BISI, it's going to be um, it's going to have a lot more room. But I um, already got my trade in for the day. Did it come out too? Perfect. Look at that. A little over 500, 685 for the day. Um, this is my first trade after resetting the account. You can watch me do that. I didn't trade yesterday. I just didn't like price action, didn't see anything that could be considered my model. So I didn't trade Wednesday. Did we trade Tuesday? Um, I don't think we traded Tuesday. Oh no, no, we did trade Tuesday. We got five handles on ES Tuesday, and we didn't trade Monday because ICT was live streaming. So I'm not gonna live stream over ICT. Um, yeah, so we're 2 for 3 this week. I did the On Tuesday. I did forget to reset, even though we did catch a win. I forgot to reset it, so I reset the account. I forget which video it was. I think it was the morning, the AM session on Wednesday. I reset it. but I will be showing you guys the account history and everything each day, each morning. So if you really want to check the validity of these paper trades, they are paper trades, don't forget. You'll be able to follow along and see that I never reset it. But yeah, yeah. Okay, so we came up, closed right below consequent encroachment of this BISI. SIBI. Start turning this gray. It's good gray. That's a good gray. So these were our silver bullet entries. Yeah, so again, here's this line represents the dollar. Definitely looks like we're going to want to take it. So I wouldn't expect anything much lower until that goes. Take a quick look at ES. Yeah, so ES, it looks like it never would have offered us that second entry on the 1 minute. Maybe it happened on the 2 minute. Nope. Yeah, so ES never gave us that chance at a second entry, which is sad. It's a good thing we went to NASDAQ. ES broke structure on the 15. Okay, so it's kind of, sometimes it gets hard lining these things up, but as you can see, the dollar right now is peeking over. So dollar breaks a high, long wick down. Um, it also, if you notice on the 15, so this blue box is what ICT highlighted earlier this morning. He said he'll do a teaching about it today, which is going to be interesting, but also happened that the top of our candles kind of topped out right above there. So I'm interested to see what he has to say about that tonight. If you pull it all the way across, obviously we have this kind of close, these two candles right here that disrespected, but as a majority, this swing high is very, we have one, two, three, four candles that wick into it but can't close above it. Then you have this bum immediate drop down. So I'm curious as to what he says about this tonight. Retracement. Let's see. Seems, looking at the dollar, it seems like the dollar does want to stay above this high right now. We had the close above it. Let's see. See if the dollar wicks above this high and then starts to go lower. We're probably going to see a reversal. And this is another reason why partials are so important. I outlined all these liquidity, sell-side liquidity and scenarios, but um, it depends. I mean, I guess it depends on your skill level and how like your analysis of price on how sure you are that it'll be going down here, but I guess partials always pay. So we're already $600+ locked in. See how the candles close around this fair value gap. See how it coincides with the dollar. Okay, yeah, so you can see the dollar. Now we're dropping down. We're not closing anymore above this. I would be wary for any stops. Any short stops. Oh, ooh, close right above it. This could be acting as an inversion fair value gap now. But we're done for the day already. See what we got today. Got 96 handles. Oh, I really should have just put it to 100. I wouldn't. I'm still pretty bearish until we close above this fair value gap right here. Yeah, unless we get a close above this silver bullet, this fair value gap, I wouldn't be too confident about higher prices. I'd want to see the dollar drop too. It looks like we're gonna kind of just like, if the dollar took liquidity above here and starts going lower, that'll make us go higher, but on the 5-minute structure, this could just be a lower high. You know, we had that pretty big drop from the top. I have yet to set a lower high. Speaking of lower highs, it's going to want to retrace to at least 50%. So see how this candle closes on the 15-minute. We have this 15-minute SIBI. See if it respects it. Okay, this is the the true moment of truth. How do we respect this fair value gap? This fair value gap is also, it's going to be really hard to see. There's a little fair value gap on the 5 minute right here. Okay, at a close inside of it. Let's see how this candle closes. This is usually good when you have a close this high, because what usually happens is when a body closes this high into a fair value gap, the next one, it's either going to definitely close. Well, okay, not definitely, but usually I've always noticed it'll either close above it or it'll have the strong rejection. So let's see what we get. And that's usually pretty indicative of whether it's going to respect it or not. This is also the last 1 minute candle of this 5 minute candle. Okay, so it looks like the 5 minute respected this very, very small SIBI. You can see it. Okay, yeah, go a little lower. Also, 15 minute is respecting the 15 minute SIBI. It's looking like this was just a retracement. We'll see. We'll have to see it get heavy. Okay, so this down close candle, this candle printing right now respected this down close candle. Filled in this BISI, came down to a tick, filled it in. So let's see, are we on what side? What is the program looking like? Okay, so we got to close above this fair value gap. I would not be, I would demand a little more information before trying to see where we're going, or at least for the short side. I think you could argue this is a decent long entry. So we are starting to see these fair value gaps act as inversions. Came up above it, absolutely no respect for to the downside. Closed, came down and bounced right off of it. Respected a little, but it looks like we are showing a lot of bullish tendencies right now. We have the dollar and the yellow in the background. That's rolling and it's dropping. Yeah, we could go for this high, but again, that's why we take partials. Look at the higher time frames on the top left. This 4-hour civvy could be possibly drawing into. Let's look at the daily. Okay, so what's also interesting is this daily fair value gap denoted by these dashes our daily body seems to be respecting its consequent encroachment. As ICT would say, good enough for government work. Let's get these off for now. Yes, you can see it right here. Just didn't want to close below that consequent encroachment on the daily. It's hard because you need all these things on your chart, because like the more things you have on your chart, the better picture you'll be able to understand, like better story you can tell. The more the story you can decipher, but it also just clutters it way more. Okay. Definitely going higher. Probably going to go into this 4-hour. City. There we go. I got a low, a high, a lower low, a break. If we could close above this, I mean, a wick above this body constitutes it as a breaker. I like to see closes. I like to see closes above them just because when you close above it, then you have a new candle that you can see how it's reacting off of it. This could be considered a breaker. Okay, we came up above it. Saw. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Came up, tapped this up close candle. So on the 1 hour, this up close candle is supporting, or is acting as resistance for bullish price. This is why I like to see a close on whatever time frame you identify the breaker on, because now it's like you have this wick and the close is just confirmation. Dollars bouncing. Take that breaker off right now. Okay. Seems like we're using this. See if we use this as an inversion. this would probably be a pretty decent area to go long in. Targeting this 4-hour fair value gap. It would depend on what it's going to depend on what the dollar does here, though. Um, Initially, we wicked above it, came back down. There's probably a fair value gap somewhere in this line. Now the dollar is going higher. Um, we'll see. We expected the consequent encroachment of this inversion fair value gap. Dollar seems to be curling. If we were to show some big candles that take out this high, as well as the dollar dropping, I would be, if we were to come up above it, I would like to use this as a bullish order block. Um, but I say that because I want that much confirmation to make sure we're on sides. Because right now, while we are respecting this in the mean threshold, this inversion fair value gap, I don't think there's not enough confirmation for me to go long yet. Just because I also already took my trade for the day. Um, if you guys know, my rules allow 3 trades. But why even if we locked in profits? Like, there's no point in taking a trade unless there's like so much confirmation above it. Like, I want to see a big bar above this high, which would also probably coincide with the close on the 5 minute above. I would want to see a retracement, react off of this order block. Um, it's just demanding a lot of confirmation because we're already up. Why? Well, it's gambling at that point. We got our trade. We were right. Silver Bullet did its job. We are respecting this inversion fair value. Yeah, very nicely though. I like it. Couldn't even close with below mean threshold. Look at the dollar. Look at ES. ES, we haven't even taken that high. Wow. Okay. So ES, we got the lower low. This is still a lower high. That's pretty bearish, in my opinion. Um, NASDAQ got a little overzealous, possibly. Yeah, look, we're just kissing the bottom of this up close candle. Um, yeah, here we go. We get a lot lower now. I could also see it being pretty heavy if we were to come back down, just because we delivered sell side, delivered buy side, took a little bit of liquidity, and then I could see it getting pretty heavy after that. Um, if it didn't get heavy, I would just expect us to range between this high and this low for the rest of the day, because it's either going to seek liquidity or just enter into like a ranging type of macro. So if it does seek liquidity, it's going to be gunning for these sell side levels I outlined earlier. Um, Still respecting this inversion though. Okay, so just like I said, I'd expect us to get pretty heavy coming back down into this range. If we don't get heavy, um, I wouldn't be too interested. I'm really only interested in sell side right now. Let's see what ES is doing. There's some beefy candles on ES. Some heavy candles. And as you can see on ES, it's rounding out this top a little. It's a little more like you can tell there's some barrier right here, which makes it seem more bearish, whereas Nasdaq's been able to high, higher high, higher high. This is kind of looking a little bit like a three drives pattern. I've noticed like there's always three highs before we finally give up the ghost. Yeah, like I was saying, heavy. Like to see it get heavy. I should really just put ES down here. So I am spending more time. trading NASDAQ. Okay, so on the 1 minute, I like to keep the inverse of whatever I'm trading to check out, highs and lows for any SMT divergence. So as you can see up here, we had an SMT divergence on the NASDAQ. We had a higher high here, which did not make it a higher high on ES. ES is definitely the leader to the downside. Which is good to know. Close it out. I'd like to see it come up, immediate rebalance, and then drop higher. I do want to see a lot of heavy price action if we are going to see sell side down here taken. If we were to come up and close above this up close candle, um, I wouldn't be interested in price for the rest of the day. Okay, well, I'm gonna log off. I got my trade in. Um, I apologize for how haphazard I was in kind of starting this live stream. Um, I came in like at 2:02, and ideally I should be coming in at like 10 minutes before the market just to lay everything out. Um, but here are our trades. Got a little over $600 today. Um, there was the second trade on the YouTube account. First trade after reset it. I was supposed to reset the account right before the first video on YouTube, but I forgot to do that. There will be no more resets, just so everyone knows, and I will be showing the account history every day, so you guys can follow along and kind of keep a vlog like um, recording of my trading. So thank you guys and enjoy the rest.